Greetings, everyone. You're tuned in here to Open Lens, where we're going to open your eyes, open your mind, and attempt to open that eye within your mind. Now, today's topic is crucial to everything that's going on in the world today. It's the individual Bill Gates. But what we're going to do is discuss the metaphysics and the Gematria behind his name. Because if we look deeper to what his name means, it'll tell us a story of what is taking place around the world, especially in the US. Now, we all know the meaning of the word bill. It's basically an amount of money owed for goods supplied or services rendered. But where it's key to look at is the etymology of the word bill. It's a written statement or formal document, formal plea or charge in a court of law. Going into the Anglo-Latin billa, a writing, a list, or a seal. From the medieval Latin bulla, a decree. Now, of course, we know what a decree means. It's an official order issued by legal authority. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Especially since they're pushing the idea of mandatory vaccinations once they arrive. Let's look at the etymology of the word seal, because it stems from the Latin signum, which is an engraved figure or identifying mark. Of course, we all know the verse in scripture where it talks about an individual coming along to force humanity to receive a mark in their right hands or in their foreheads. But what Bill Gates represents is the separation of two worlds, a separation of two systems. And in order for you to continue in this new system being set up, you'll basically have to make a covenant with it to live in it. Way too many people are looking at the individual Bill Gates and not what he represents. So let's look at his last name, Gates. A gate is an entrance or opening into something. Now, door or entrance in Hebrew is dalet. The numerical value for that is 4. Now, why that is key is because it tells us a doorway is opening, a gateway, a new system, a new world order. Hebrew letters have significant meanings. Nothing is random. So, 404 means you have to receive a mark and sign a covenant to enter into the gates of this new system. Now, some will say they don't want to be part of this new system, and you shouldn't. It will be very oppressive. However, I did mention this is a separation of two worlds, of two systems, of two kingdoms. And since humanity has lived out of balance with the planet for so long, this is our warning. This is our judgment. From the onset of this video, I did mention this was not just a significant warning to the world, but one especially for the US. Because I'm sure some are asking, why is all this happening now? What 2019 ended was a 400-year cycle for a particular people and began a new cycle for another. As I mentioned, Hebrew letters have significant meaning. Nothing is random. So I'm going to read this verse in Genesis to give you a better understanding of what's to come and what to look for. And he said unto Abram, know for surety that thy seed shall be strangers in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. Now, some people will say that's talking about ancient Egypt. And you are absolutely correct. However, it's also speaking about modern day United States. And I'm going to show you the parallels of why. Now, the reason why I wanted to give you a brief view of the similarities between ancient Egypt and modern day US is so we can get a better understanding of what will be taking place here in the next few years. Now, here's a look at the word for Mitzrayim, which is the ancient Hebrewic word for Egypt. The root words being Mem, Zadi, and Resh. The word Mitzir, meaning to border, to shut, or to limit. The etymology of the word for Mitzrayim lies in Zar. The verb means to bind, tie up, or to be restricted. Now, all commentators agree the word Mitzrayim represents hardship, distress, oppression. Now, we know that a 400-year period from 1619 to 2019 just ended. This is key, because right before the 400-year cycle ended, we were given a sign. In August of 2017, there was a solar eclipse traveling from the west coast to the east coast. Now, some might ask, what does all this have to do with Bill Gates? We must understand that mathematical laws underpin the very fabric of our universe. Not just atoms, but galaxies, stars, and people. So being that there will be a second eclipse just under 7 years later, starting from the East Coast traveling westward, is especially significant since it crosses at a certain point in southern Illinois in a place called Little Egypt. Now, I would like to point out the magnitude and rarity of this occurrence. Scientists tell us that if you stood in one place on the earth, you would have to wait on average 360 years until you saw another total eclipse. And it just so happens that this one is crossing paths, marking the same spot in a place called Little Egypt. Now, in ancient writings, we are told that when there are lunar eclipses, those are typically warning signs to the children of Israel. However, when there are solar eclipses, those are warning signs to the Gentile world. The greatest way to fool a people is not to hide an event from them. It's to redirect the information and give them a false timeline. So when that event doesn't occur at set time, the people let down their guard. From my studies of several ancient writings, the events of ancient Egypt were caused by a planet in our solar system that many spoke of around the time of 2012. However, this was by design. The planet known as Planet X will not make its appearance until later this decade. This is why Bill Gates is being pushed to the forefront. Maybe years ago, someone could say this is hyperbole or conspiracy, but they are pushing this agenda right before our eyes. I think everyone can agree this decade has gotten off to a very riveting beginning. But it's just that, the beginning. This next decade will see great changes upon this planet. While some people will come together, unite, to build a new covenant. As this world raises in vibrational frequency, we will look to rise with it. While others who seek not to change and long for their old ways of life will sign a covenant with this beast system and lose their soul in the process. Please share and like the video. It is upon us to build the kingdom upon this planet that we wish. And we must do that by uniting and raising the consciousness of the people.